Next question from Justin Joseph. Why, after the Second Vatican Council, the tabernacle has been sidelined in most churches? In the Archdiocese of Bombay, like Holy Name Cathedral, Mount Mary's and older churches, the tabernacle is at the center, while in other churches, newly or recently constructed, it is towards the corner. Also, the chair in which the priests, the bishops sit, earlier used to be at the side, now at the center. I feel the tabernacle should be right at the center, that people can genuflect and is visible to all. Even the church architecture has been changed immediately after the council. Why was it so? Your thoughts on that? Yes, very true, Justin. Now, this is because of the Vatican Council. The discussion was about the church. The church, like the temple at Jerusalem, in my homilies I often mentioned at the daily mass, that the temple was for sacrifice, the synagogue was for the liturgy of the word. They would read the Bible and pray. There was no sacrifice anywhere else except the temple, which Solomon had built, which was destroyed, I was saying, and the Ark of the Covenant was present in that. Now, when studying why is a church built, the church is built for the assembly meets together and mainly for the Eucharist. And theologically, the Eucharist is mainly a sacrifice. It's an unbloody sacrifice. It's once again, the priest says the Mass, and that's the central part. Now, the Eucharist is not meant primarily for adoration, primarily for communion. It's meant to be offered as sacrifice and consumed. So not later on, as I mentioned before, because of the development and needs of people, those who could not come to the church or even beginning times, so the Holy Communion was preserved and taken sometimes to the sick. That's why it was preserved. Then, since it was preserved, people began to pray for them. They were monks, they were religious, they were priests who would pray. But essentially it was really to offer sacrifice and kept to be given to people who are very sick, about to die, viaticum, etc. Therefore, the centrality of the purpose of really the tabernacle to preserve was originally accidental. But I can see, since there is the person of Jesus, it's so very precious, and therefore it makes sense to have, that's why it was in the center. After Vatican II, since the aspect of the sacrifice was emphasized and the meaning of the Mass, they said the whole church really should be set, the altar should be center, and on the altar you offer the sacrifice. That's really, and that's why the tabernacle was moved to the side. In the Oriental churches, and I've seen that in all the most of Siro-Malabar churches I visited in Kerala, there's a tabernacle on one side, and on the other side, parallel, exactly symmetrical, is a little like a place for the Bible to be kept, liturgy of the Word, presence of God in the Word, presence of God in the Eucharist. Now, this was immediately. Pope Benedict XVI, like your question, also began feeling that we had neglected a bit the presence of the Eucharist, although it was theologically not the central point of the Eucharist, central motive of really instituting the Eucharist, to have it in the tabernacle for us to pray. Pope Benedict also mentioned that we must rethink. And so now, Justin, in the churches now, so this was 1965, you could see all the churches practically built after that, because of this theological development, the tabernacle was shifted by the side. All the church, there's been now development in the last 10, 15 years. And I can see in the architecture now, the tabernacle once again is going to the center. Those that are built in those 50 years, you can't change the structure that's been built. There's a structure inbuilt in the wall. You can't change that. So that's because of the theological thinking. And there's a point in what you say. And as I said, Pope Benedict also pointed it out in some talks about the architecture has got to reflect. Theology changes and our reflections change. You got a point. In the new church is being built, that's now in the center.